All right, who is ready for some mending, quick fixes, little adjustments? Do you love them or do you hate mending with all your heart? If you don't like mending, I used to be in your camp not too long ago, and then I don't know, I just kind of learned to enjoy the process. I think the biggest thing that I really enjoy about mending and adjusting and sort of like fixing some stuff is the disappearance of the pile, because the pile can be really prominent on like my work desk or in my work area, and it can be there for weeks, can be there for months, and it just kind of, it's right there. So today I'm going to tackle it. First, I'm going to tackle these shorts. I made these, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago on the channel. There's a very detailed tutorial about these. But what happened is the fabric kind of grew a little bit, and I've witnessed that in some of the other fabrics very prominently. You can see that in like waffle knits. They kind of grow with you and with time, but I wasn't expecting it of this fabric. So the crotch area just kind of like sags. I'm not sure if you can see it when I wear it, but I can definitely feel it, and it just, I don't know, something just isn't right about it. So I gotta fix it. I guess one of the really big advantages about making your own clothes is that you know exactly how they've been constructed. So I took my shorts, I turned them wrong side out so that way I can see all the seams, and I'm really interested in this crotch area. So here at the crotch seam, I've decided that I'm gonna take in about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And then at the hem of each of the legs, I will take in about 2 inches, maybe a tad more. Of course, try it on before you do the adjustment so that way you know that it actually fits. And you get sort of like a triangle. That's where I'm going to be stitching. Whatever is below that, I'm going to cut away and finish the seam. When I do something like this, one of my biggest pet peeves is to make sure that the crotch seams align and the seams of the hem of your pants or shorts align as well, so that way when it's done, it really looks neat. Here's how much I've cut away from the crotch area, and here are the updated shorts. Now, the difference might be really subtle at first, but I definitely feel it, and as you know, it really matters how you feel about your clothes. So these ones are definitely going back in a closet. Next, this really fancy pair of mermaid pants, and I think you can clearly see what's going on over here. I made these for my daughter about a year, maybe even 2 years ago. I don't know. Kids grow so fast, and lengthwise they definitely don't fit anymore. But over here up top, they're actually still good. The fabric is stretchy, and as you know, elastic also softens up with time. So I'm determined to save these. So of course we have the problem at the knees, and here I'm just putting them side seam to side seam. Well, this one actually doesn't have a side seam because these are like leggings, but I'm trying to align them so that way we can turn them into shorts and then use the bottom part for a cute little craft. And I don't really have much choice here, so I'm going to cut right above this knee spot. Now here I'm going to fold in this hem about ½ an inch or so, and then I'll do a zigzag stitch on a sewing machine to secure it in place. Of course, don't forget to secure the seams, but that's about it. The new shorts are ready. Well, updated shorts are ready, and I think we're gonna get another season of wear out of these. Now, what to do with these little cutoffs? Hold on, I'm gonna grab my glue gun. I'm gonna cut these apart first, and here I want to say that from small little pieces of fabric you can do quite a bit, but I think I'm gonna go and create 2 beautiful little hair clips. I have cut 2 rectangles that are about 4.5 by 4.5 inches long, and now I'm going to do just some hot glue magic. Basically, what I'm going to do is fold them in, kind of like that, center to center. You can do it in any direction, really. And then I'm going to fold in these almost all the way to the center as well. You will have a little pocket like this. Take another strip of fabric. What you want is sort of gather it up like that, and then put this one on top, and you can already see that a little bow is forming. And then of course you'll need to snip it in the back, secure it with hot glue, and then put it on top of a clip. So this one was sort of like 2 in 1. This next one is for me, and it's real simple, real straightforward. I got this t-shirt from Walmart. I barely buy clothes anyway, but I really loved the print. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but when I actually put it on, I don't know whom they make these t-shirts for, but it's like super long. On top, it fits just fine, but on the bottom, it's definitely way too long. As always, the first step is to determine how much shorter you want it to be and then make little markings. I'm making my markings with heat erasable pen, and here you see that straight line of the new hem. But I'm going to cut it about 1 inch below that, so once I've cut it away, I can fold it in about 1 inch in, and that will be my new hem. I'm going to use my cover stitch machine to complete it, but just like in the previous example with mermaid pants, you can use a zigzag stitch, or you can even use a blind hem. You can do it by hand. So many options, just choose which one is right for you. Much better, right? Next are my husband's jeans, and here, yeah, something that happens pretty often, I'm sure it has happened to you, and that is a big rip, a big hole right in the crotch area. And you know what he did as a temporary fix? He actually went and put a patch of moleskin in that area. I mean, it does actually hold it together, but I definitely have to remove it in order to be able to patch it. First, I'm going to grab a scrap piece of denim that I had on hand, and I will apply it on top of those holes that I have in the crotch area. So that way I have something behind them as we're going to mend them. I will first attach it with just basting stitch with hand sewing needle and thread, and then I will go to my sewing machine and create sort of like a little frame. For this job, I'm going to be using this denim colored thread by Gutermann because it will make the mending less visible. Now, by using straight stitch on our sewing machine, we'll just need to recreate the weave of the fabric. So first I will go up and down, up and down, up and down within that little frame that I created. Then within the same frame, I will go side to side, so horizontally. And the last one I will do to match the grain of the fabric itself. Well, all right, it's done, and there's not much to it. It's just a very repetitive task, but it's done, and hopefully this patch is going to serve us well for another 2, 3, 4, hopefully even more years. But as these jeans are going back to the closet, the pile is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now this next one is for my little one. I have like all sorts of family projects today, and I made this skirt probably 2, maybe even 3 years ago. There's also a really detailed tutorial on how to make this one. Super easy. But the point is that the waist still fits just like with the leggings, but the bottom is too short. So I have to find a way how to extend it. And this was upon request of my daughter, so hopefully with time I can teach her how to do it, so that way she can do it herself. And she's 4 right now, so we're getting closer to that time. And I have a little remnant of this stretch netting. It sort of looks like tulle, but it's not. But the really great thing about it is that it doesn't fray, so I can cut it and I don't have to worry about hemming it. It also has a little sparkle to it. Look at that, so cute. First, I'm going to tidy up the edges, and then I will see how wide of a piece of a netting I have versus how wide is the skirt. And the netting is just a little bit wider, therefore I'm a little bit concerned that there's not going to be enough for some really nice gathers. The way that I'm going to get out of it is I'm actually going to do 2 layers of gathers, so that way the ruffle is a little bit fuller. First, I'm going to use the longest straight stitch available on my sewing machine to gather the netting. Once I'm done gathering, I'm going to attach the ruffle to the skirt. The way I want to do it is so that all of my pins are on the right side of the fabric, because that's how I'm going to be stitching it. My plan is to attach the ruffle by stitching it into the original stitch of the hem. definitely take a little bit, not too long though, but it's worth the effort. Of course, don't forget to finish your seams, do the back stitch, clip all the loose threads, but that's it. After that, the skirt is done. Look how cute. Now, sometimes people will say that they don't like the colors that I use or the materials that I use, but you have to look past that and you have to look at the idea, because we're all different, tastes vary, preferences vary, but if you look at the idea, if you have an adult skirt or a kid's skirt that could have used 1 inch to maybe even 3 inches of length, this could be a great way how to achieve that. Oh boy. Next up, we have another crotch emergency over here. These are really old, ready-to-wear pants, and here the problem is in the fabric itself, because it's definitely way too thin for being a pant. But this is actually what I like about these, because these are super lightweight. The color is kind of dark, but as you see right over here, the fabric just disintegrated at the seam and it's sort of pulled away. So if on the jeans I was able to do mending and sort of apply a patch over here, if I do that in this case, you will be able to see through it. So what I'm actually going to do is, first, let's go ahead and turn it wrong side out. Here's that crotch. Here's that big hole right over here, and I'm just going to scoop out the back crotch a little bit more so that way I can form a new seam. I am going to pin this so that way I know where I'm stitching, and the point here is to create a really smooth transition from the existing seam to that new seam that we're going to be forming. And I'm only going to do this little part over here, so not the entire crotch. And just like in the first example of my shorts, I'm not going to cut away anything just yet. I'm going to go to my sewing machine and do a straight stitch first. I'm starting quite a bit above so that way I can make that smooth transition. And these are really loose fitting pants, so I know that I can scoop out a little bit of extra in the crotch area. If you're working with tight fitting pants, that might be a different story, so definitely try it on before you do the adjustment. And here you can see the new seam. Now I'm going to use my serger and I'm going to finish it so that way it doesn't fray. But of course you can use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, overcast stitch, or any other way of finishing the seam that works for you. Now this is what the final seam looks like, and that's it. The back crotch is all done, so back to the closet. But I must say that for the time that I've been altering, fixing, mending, doing anything to ready-to-wear clothes, usually these are mine, usually pretty old, because I've been sewing clothes for quite some time now for myself, but it never stops to amaze me how they're made. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes there is something to learn for sure, but more than often not in such a good way. But I guess that's one of the things that we learn from making our own clothes, right? We learn that something that is made well does last longer. And here is the same story. This is a ready-to-wear t-shirt that was actually a gift from my mom, and we actually spoke about this. The sleeve cuffs over here are not finished. Basically, they just decided to create a little cuff by folding the hem of the sleeve to the right side of the fabric and doing a couple of little tucks. As you know, some fabrics love to roll when you don't finish the raw edge, and it does here exactly that. As a result, anytime I'm taking this out of laundry, if I don't actually iron this out, which does take quite some time, then I look like I just rolled out of bed and, you know, I don't know, grabbed something from the laundry bin and put it on myself. So it does bother me a little bit. So here I think a simple little fix like tucking this all underneath and doing a straight stitch right on the edge of the cuff might solve the problem. As you can see, I'm using just a regular straight stitch there, and the reason for it is because these sleeves are so extremely wide that I'm not concerned about stretching them and popping the stitches. I am, however, using a slightly longer stitch length that usually helps when you're using just a regular thread and a regular straight stitch on knit fabrics. Now this was such a quick fix, wasn't it? But hopefully it will make a big difference, and I truly hope that this video inspired you to tackle that pile of quick fixes, mending and stuff. But if you're craving an actual upcycle, then this video is right for you. I'll show you how to upcycle dresses that you no longer wear, so that way you can make use of them and love them again. So I'll see you in this video. Until next time, happy sewing!